What's in a name? Everything. The power of a name has long been immortalized in prose, poetry, and history. It is your face to the world, your ambassador of quality that reflects your ideals and aspirations. Thompson's, a name, a family, a tradition of excellence. So it is with Thompson's Buick GMC dealership at 55 Placerville Drive, home of new and used Buick and GMC cars, trucks, and SUVs. At Thompson's, each of our professional and friendly sales staff are here to meet or exceed your highest expectations. And our professional staff and factory-trained and certified technicians will keep your car, truck, or SUV running in perfect condition. That's Thompson's Buick GMC, where you are always treated like family.
Hey everybody, welcome to California Bountiful. I'm your host, Tracy Sellers, and we've got a lot of great news stories and recipes coming up on today's show, so let's not waste any time and get to our first story. Nestled into the hills of the quiet little town of Ojai is where you'll find the Rio Gozo farm. Rio, which means river in Spanish, and Gozo, which means joy, is run by farmer chef and now full-time farmer John Fontaine. And if you watch him work long enough, you'll realize just how much Gozo is actually flowing around these parts.
Good morning. You too. How are you all? I mean, my first love with food was really preparing food and cooking it. I just kind of felt like since food was a relationship I'm going to have my whole life, and one I check in with 3 times a day, that it'd be good to really kind of explore it deeper.
And John gets to explore his love for food every day now across 3.5 acres of various row crops at the farm. He picks, washes, and packs the produce from sunrise to sundown, and has built a connection not only to food, but his local community too. He operates a thriving community-supported agriculture business, delivering to homes and offices. In addition, he's struck up relationships with local chefs like Tim Kukoin of the Sidecar restaurant in downtown Ventura, offering them an outlet to get produce they may not find elsewhere and offering them advice from a chef's viewpoint.
Something like this? Is this what we're looking for? Okay, cool. I love to speak to him about, like, what would you like to see next season? And so we can start talking about how we can plan his menu basically from a seed catalog and you know, have it to where the diners can understand that, you know, your dinner didn't just take an hour to prepare, it took 110 days. Because that's how long ago we thought about what you'd be eating, what you might like to eat. And these are some of the tomatoes that are getting ready, but we could pull these today. This is the male flower, and then this is the female flower.
How can you tell?
Because it's got the fruit on it, and then no fruit here.
His background, which is also one of the great things that I enjoy, like working with him, is that he actually has a chef experience background. You know, so I mean, he knows. From my perspective, he knows exactly what, you know, what I'm thinking or things like that.
John estimates he feeds about 165 people through his CSA program, and now, thanks to Tim's help, a countless number of other folks who dine at the restaurant have been introduced to this farmer and his produce. And as a farmer, what better way to find out what people really think about your produce than to invite yourself to dinner every so often? John's biggest belief is that food connects people, and so he jumped at the opportunity to connect with his community when Tim brought up the idea of having a farmer dinner at his restaurant. All of the food comes from local farms within 100 miles of the restaurant, and farmers like John get to put a face on the people growing the food that this community is eating.
And it's kind of, to introduce the public to their local farmers and, kind of get the farmers, out from behind the tents from the farmers market or actually out in front of the public so they can shake hands. And, people, especially nowadays, people want to know where the food's coming from, which is important. So this is just another avenue to be able to do that.
Well, so often, like when you're picking food and selling it, you just pick it, you put it in a box and it disappears, and you don't actually get to see the people that are eating it. So it has a huge impact on me to just be able to put a face with whom I'm feeding.
So as the seasons change at Rio Gozo Farm, one thing remains constant: John's love of produce and people. And that's a connection that won't be broken soon for him, and he hopes for others too.
And yeah, we all gotta eat. We can't just keep putting up house after house after house and hope that Mexico or Chile or China will be the people that are like the guardians of our food security. And, to assume that everything will just plunk right along the way it is right now and there'll be no interruption in those things is naive. So I think it's important to support local farmers, and I just generally liked farmers.
And stay with us because there's more California Bountiful coming up.
Closed captioning of California Bountiful is provided by Agriculture Liquid Fertilizers. Producing better crops with better fertilizers, it's better for California.
My name is Patrick Mulvaney, and my wife Bobbin and I own Mulvaney's Building and Loan. It's a restaurant, banquet hall, and a catering facility here in Sacramento, California. Focus on local seasonal food, so our menu changes every day, and it all depends on what the farmer brings in the front door. Every day brings a new excitement here because of the farmers that are around here. Everybody brings it in here to our restaurant so that we can put it on a fork, and our guests get to enjoy it.
Welcome back to the show. In our travels across the state, we get to meet some really interesting farmers with even more interesting stories to tell, including this next one. Check it out. So I've been working on the show for probably about 8 years now, and I am still amazed at all of the things that can grow here in California, including this guy. What the heck is this? Any guesses? Okay, here's a hint for you. It's crucial to Jennifer Bjorklund's job here at the Dolphin Bay Resort in Pismo Beach.
Yes, people definitely comment on them. They like them. They like the fact that they're green because they're grown locally in Napomo, about 20 minutes away from here.
So if you haven't guessed by now, we're talking about the loofah sponge. Believe it or not, but folks have been growing them for more than 10,000 years now, and today you can find a fresh batch of them ready for harvest at Deanne Kuhn's unique farm in Napomo.
Right now, currently, we have the 2 greenhouses going, and they are like raising the children, so you do never know what you're going to get. One greenhouse may average anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000. The other one 3,000 to 5,000. There's no rhyme or reason. But like raising the kids, they can be 2 inches, 6 inches, 24 inches. You never know what the loofah is going to actually end up being at the pickable stage.
The loofah sponge is actually a member of the gourd family and kind of looks like a small zucchini before it's harvested. Deanne says they tend to like the nice warm greenhouses she has and the nice warm growing season she has along the Central Coast. But even that doesn't guarantee a good harvest because, as she calls them, they are plants with an attitude.
If it likes you, it'll grow very, very well. We've discovered that you can give a handful of people in a room a full handful of seeds. Out of 5 or 10 of them, only a few of them will actually get a vinage. Out of that vinage, only a few will actually be able to have a pickable loofah. It's a plant that if it likes you, it'll do very, very well. If it doesn't like you, we say, please just don't take it personal. Since they have an attitude, if they're hanging by somebody they don't prefer, one of the 2 of them will just shrivel up. So we try to keep them separated a little bit, like arguing children.
The loofah plant is made up of a robust vine with big, bold yellow flowers and curling tendrils that need a sturdy frame to cling to. Their growing cycle is totally unpredictable. Some days they might not grow at all, and other days they might grow rapidly, from half an inch to a whole inch in just one day. And then whenever the gourd reaches its maximum weight for the vine, it will cut off nutrients, and then the gourd will begin to dry out.
So whether it's 5 inches, 26 inches, there's no rhyme or reason, just like raising the kids. The day that they wake up and say, that's it, I'm too heavy, they go through an automatic different life cycle. They'll actually begin sucking everything out. It'll redistribute to each and every other loofah that's growing on this guy's mother vine. And as it does that, it'll go from this big, big, heavy, heavy green to some of the lighter yellow ones that you do see hanging. And at that point, they'll actually even get a different color. They'll go from the light, light yellow all the way to the solid browns. When they're completely solid brown, the weight difference is just enormous. But you can tell they're featherweight at this point. You can actually hear the seeds on them. And at this point, you can simply peel and discover your loofah that's hiding on the inside.
Well, they clearly like Deanne because she is growing about 3,000 to 4,000 loofahs here a year. And what started out as a part-time hobby has turned into a full-time job, thanks in part to the continued interest level of visitors who, like me, were aloof to loofahs before meeting Deanne.
Wow, not a question. Most of their expression is, wow, I never knew. When they find out that, number 1, we're not going to the ocean. Number 2, we're not growing in big water vats. Most people, when you say the word sponge, mainly because of SpongeBob being around on TV, most people, you say the word sponge, they automatically go to the ocean.
Yeah, the girls at the spa said you don't even need to put any lotion or anything on it. Just a little water and it exfoliates.
They soften right up, and just whether you're using them for cleaning or bathing, they're just ultimately soft.
That's good.
Very inviting and enjoyable.
You were the loofah whisperer.
There we go.
Oh, you are. You're the loofah whisperer. I've heard that somewhere before.
And Deanne has even expanded the operation in recent years to include a small retail store where visitors can now buy the loofahs and soaps and lotions she makes at the farm.
It was just simply a pipe dream. Build it and they'll come. Watch out what you wish for. It might just happen. There was no way to write any kind of a plan. All I can tell you is that every time you mention the word loofah and you start talking about our loofahs at least, most people are just simply so amazed and surprised, especially when they touch one of our loofahs, so much different. But no, there's no way of writing a game plan for this one.
Deanne says drop by the loofah farm anytime. You don't even need an appointment. And for groups of 8 or more, she'll even bake you cookies. But massages, those might cost you extra. But you can ask. Stay with us because there's more California Bountiful coming up after the break.
Hi, my name is John Ledbetter. I work at Boca Nova Restaurant in Jack London Square, Oakland, California. I love cooking with simple ingredients, seasonal ingredients. I like using the right things at the right times, and I like to do 10 ingredients or less, preferably always. What we do in this business is we highlight food. And you can't highlight food unless you're using the best of what you can get. And if you can't do that, you should either try to do it or you should go do something else.
In the nation, we can't make every annoying thing disappear, but we can eliminate deductibles. Nationwide insurance members who add Vanishing Deductible get $100 off for every year of safe driving. Join the nation where deductibles go.
Nationwide is on your side.
Farm Bureau members can save money on their auto insurance by switching to Nationwide Insurance. Talk to your agent or call 877-NATIONWIDE today.
Here in California, the landscape is dotted with farmers that have stories of courage, dedication, and perseverance in the face of adversity. However, none have quite the history of the Ikeda family. But to see how far they've come, you first have to see where they've been. In the early part of the 20th century, many of the hills above the Arroyo Grande area were farmed by Japanese families who planted a variety of crops each spring. Together they banded together to form POVI, the Pismo Oceano Vegetable Exchange, which was highly successful until world events hit this small coastal community in the 1940s.
Before the war, there was probably between 40 and 45 members of Pismo Oceano Vegetable Exchange. During the war, all the Japanese families got shipped off to internment camps further inland, mainly to Utah and Arizona. And during that time, there was an Alien Exclusion Act in which aliens couldn't own land. So you either had to buy land through a child who was a citizen or have some other citizen buy the land and you leased it from them. And so not a lot of people owned land back then.
The family was forced to give up their land, but today Tom Ikeda actually farms the same land his ancestors did back in the 1920s. How? Well, it's all due in large part to the strong community ties this family had, including the ones with the Loomis family, who despite persecution from some, took care and looked after the Ikeda's farm while they were gone. Gordon Bennett, a cousin of the Loomis family, still lives in the area and takes great pride in remembering what his family did.
And we found in the end result that everything paid off. We did the right thing and we were on the right track to begin with.
Especially during that time where there was a lot of fear of the war and there was a lot of prejudice. You know, prior to World War II, there was a lot of prejudice against the Asians in general. And so for a local family to step up like that against a lot of the community was very brave of them.
Today, the whole Ikeda family takes great satisfaction in the fact that they farm across the same fields their ancestors did nearly 90 years ago. And today they have grown so large that they estimate that nearly 35 million people are eating POVI produce annually. They farm everything from bok choy to lettuce to spinach, but they're best known internationally for Napa cabbage. In fact, they are now the largest grower and shipper of it in the world.
Napa cabbage, we started growing that back in the 50s, and it's really taken off in popularity, especially with the larger Asian population in the more recent years, but also with the popularity of ethnic foods. So a lot of those Oriental vegetables have become more mainstream. It's a versatile Oriental crop. The Koreans pickle it for kimchi. Japanese, they'll use it in stir fry. You can use it in salads.
So while they have seen many changes in Arroyo Grande over the years, there has remained one constant here, the Ikeda family. By forming deep agricultural roots and by equally balancing a commitment to their community and to their family, the Ikedas have proven the true test of time rests on values that, despite adversity, don't change either. and won't anytime soon if this farming family has anything to say about it.
But we don't want to let our parents down, we don't want to let our family down, and since they struggled to build the business up, if we fail, that's like letting our family down. And so I think in that respect, it's real important that we try to keep this business viable.
Hi, I'm John Tolsey of The Girl and the Fig, and today we're going to be making Brussels sprouts with Italian bacon or pancetta. We're going to start by taking Brussels sprouts and cleaning them up. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our pancetta cooking. Now you can add more or less. I will admit that the recipe calls for more, but if you're a little sensitive to too much pancetta, which I can't imagine why, you can do less. What we're going to do is we're just going to let this slowly cook on the stove. We don't want to get it too hot because we want it to really roast all the way through. While we're doing that, we're going to roast some shallots, and again, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. This is a great additional element to the dish. When you roast shallots this way, they get this really sweet nuttiness, which I think complements the Brussels sprouts' natural flavors. So we're going to start it just right here. We don't want to get too much caramelization, but we're going to get it going, and then we're actually going to finish it in the oven. They really get that roasty flavor to it. So our pancetta is done, and we're going to go ahead and take the pancetta out of the pan and put it on a paper towel, just to take a little bit of that extra fat off. But we're going to use most of this fat to cook our Brussels sprouts in, and we're going to go ahead and do that next. So we'll just drain a little of this extra fat out, but there's the leftover. And this is important, over a high heat, and we're going to put them face down, just in the pan. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get that fat to kind of go all over the pan, and we're going to season them lightly with salt and pepper. So that's going to take about 5-6 minutes. And we're going to get them caramelized, and then we're going to finish them in a hot oven, about 425 degrees. Before we do that, though, we want to take those shallots out of the oven that we started earlier. They should be nice and caramelized. Let's take a look. Oh, yep, there they are. So you can see those shallots we started earlier have really roasted up beautifully. And again, you brought out the sweetness in the shallots that's going to match really well with these Brussels sprouts. So we're going to turn one of these, and you're just starting to see them color a little bit. So almost there. At this point, I'm going to add a little bit of our shallots in. So next, we're going to go ahead and the Brussels sprouts have come out. I threw a little butter in too. Butter makes everything better, but it helps just coat the Brussels sprouts, give them a fatty flavor and deliciousness. You see the roasted shallots in there, and we're just going to go ahead and plate this up. In the cookbook, Plat du Jour, the idea is to serve these recipes family style a lot of times. Obviously, you can plate them individually, but I love the look of the rustic big plate of Brussels sprouts just kind of getting dropped on the table. Just like that. And then to finish it, we're going to take a little bit of this beautiful pancetta and just kind of let it fall over the top. But again, a beautiful dish. The roasted shallots and the Brussels sprouts, they come together with the saltiness of the pancetta to, I think, really highlight why Brussels sprouts are one of my favorite vegetables.
And if you'd like that recipe, well, you can get it on our website at CaliforniaBountiful.com. And stay with us because there's more California Bountiful coming right up.
My name is Patrick Mulvaney, and my wife Bobbin and I own Mulvaney's Building and Loan. It's a restaurant, banquet hall, and a catering facility here in Sacramento, California. Focus on local, seasonal food, so our menu changes every day, and it all depends on what the farmer brings in the front door. Every day brings a new excitement here because of the farmers that are around here. Everybody brings it in here to our restaurant so that we can put it on a fork, and our guests get to enjoy it.
You hear Nationwide is on your side all the time, but why should you believe it? Well, Nationwide Insurance puts their members first because they don't have shareholders. Plus, you can add features like vanishing deductible to your policy. And then take $100 off your deductible for every year of safe driving until your deductible could vanish completely. Deal. Nationwide is on your side.
Farm Bureau members can save money on their auto insurance by switching to Nationwide Insurance. Talk to your agent or call 877-NATIONWIDE today.
Hi, this is Chad Minton, chef of the Journey Restaurant here at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton Marina del Rey Hotel and Spa. Today, we're gonna make beautiful baby Castro Valley crispy fried artichokes. Now the amazing thing about the artichoke is a lot of people don't really know what the heck to do with this thing. And this is an extraordinarily simple preparation that only requires baby artichoke, buttermilk, some grilled lemons, minced garlic, and whole thyme. Now, one thing to consider when dealing with these artichokes is they put off an extraordinarily bitter oil. So you have to make sure to thoroughly wash your hands after handling these things. Additionally, everything that they touch is going to taste bitter. So it's important to really clean your work surface. Now with these things, I just peeled off the exterior and now I'm going to cut off the top. After doing that, I'm just going to run my knife around the exterior and take off all of the green parts. It doesn't have to be beautiful because the next step, we're just going to slice them and into the buttermilk they go. I have a mixture here of semolina and rice flour. Rice flour actually has 3 times the starch content of conventional all-purpose flour, which is going to give us a really, really crispy baby artichoke. The ratio for this is 2 parts rice flour to 1 part semolina. Now, I'm just going to shake off this buttermilk and in they go into the flour mixture. We'll give them a quick toss. Now they go in the fryer. Now if you don't have a $60,000 professional fryolator in your home, you can certainly take a heavy bottom pot, fill it with your favorite oil, stick your thermometer in, and when it's at 375 degrees, you're ready to go. But it's always a good idea to test fry one to begin with. If it comes out burnt, your oil's too hot. If it comes out soggy, your oil's not hot enough. As you can see, they're beautifully, beautifully brown now. And this is a crucial part. As soon as they come out of the fryer, salt. We use kosher salt because of its texture. It gives you a good feel and you can control how much you put on them. Now, they go into a bowl. We're gonna squeeze a little bit of this grilled lemon juice on them. And a little bit of minced garlic. We're just gonna give them a light toss. And then in the bowl they go. You see they're beautifully brown. This is Chad Minton urging you to use your creativity and please keep cooking.
Well, that's going to do it for the show today. If you have questions about any of the stories or the recipes, then you check it out at CaliforniaBountiful.com. And we'll see you again next week on California Bountiful.